Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Upsurge, and we got some spicy action for you here today. That's right, we are here with UPL, Upsurge Premier League. My name is Travesty. I am joined here by the ever so voluptuous Guster Posey. Guster, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. We got week 2 of UPL. We got a spicy matchup in store for us coming on up here with Polar Ace taking on Team Fish Taco. And unfortunately, both these teams took a loss in week number 1.
Mhm.
But, there's still plenty of time to turn things around. So, both these teams are going to be hungry looking for a W today.
Yeah, it's just week 2, right? We only had 1 week of play, so now this is time for you to actually start looking to go ahead and pick up a win here and start getting that momentum building for yourself, because that's what a lot of teams are chasing here at the very beginning is that momentum. And both of these teams, like you said, coming off of a loss, so you got to think both these teams are hungry, which means we're in for one fantastic League of Legends series here.
Yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to here. Just a quick look at the actual game records. Team Fish Taco did take the 0-2 loss to Supernova last week, whereas Polar Ace did take a 2-1 loss to Full Spectrum. So, at least one team has a game win so far this season.
Hmm.
So, Team Fish Taco looking for their first game win of the season so far. But yeah, things, early on in the season is a good time to kind of get these issues out of the way. When you take a loss like this, you can just sit back and go, okay, well, it's early on in the season. It's not the end of the world. Let's figure out what we need to do to actually get off the snide and get a W on the board, because you don't want to sit on a goose egg for too long. Then it'll
You,
hatch.
you,
Then you have a baby
you
goose.
and that's just an awkward situation, right? The goose just follows you around and all this other stuff. Nobody wants to have to deal with what comes with that. There's also goose support that you have to pay. It's a whole big mess. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we are going to be getting into our draft here. And I'll be honest, I'm ready to see what these two teams draft against one another, because there's so many things to have priority against one another and have for you to want to grab in this first early rotations here.
Yeah, lots of different things we do. I believe we have a Misfortune band coming out first here for the side of Polar Ace.
Yeah, it is going to be a Misfortune band to start everything off with, and it looks like it's going to be followed up directly with a Varus band. So we're seeing some love to these AD carries already, but Trundle looking like it's the next band to come out here.
Yeah, and both Misfortune and Varus are top tier 80 carries right now, especially at this level of play, just both offering so much to team fights in their own ways. Misfortune, of course, being a lane bully 80 carry as well, and Varus brings all that utility to the team fights, can be built on hit, can be built poke as well. Very strong in both ways. But yeah, the Trundle just taking away the option of stealing the stats from tanks, and Syndra being banned, just probably the best overall mid laner right now, and can flex bottom lane as well.
Super strong pick in two
And jungle
lanes,
if you're brave
able to do
enough.
it. If you are brave enough, listen, anything go in the jungle if you're brave enough. Okay, let's just go ahead and get that out there. There's some people that will fight for that, right? But I am very curious. We see the Trundle that was banned away from Polar Ace and the Wukong as well. So I'm wondering if their first rotation is they have their priority on a certain jungler that doesn't do too terribly hot into the Trundle Wukong matchups.
Yeah, and that could be something like the Sejuani. Any other tank jungler too. A lot of people like to play Trundle into things like Zac and other tankier junglers just to steal all the stats and become that big old stat stick. And Maokai coming out, we've seen a lot of Maokai starting to pop back up. He's pretty good right now, but Graves is going to be the lock-in. I think Graves is probably the tier S plus A1 jungler right now. He is going to take a little nerf later this week when the patch comes out. His Q is going to lose a little bit of its base AD scaling, but overall Graves is fantastic. And I was wondering how long it was going to take to see Soraka in a draft. Mm-hmm. And turns out it's pick number 2.
Yeah, I think Soraka is actually disgusting right now in a lot of different ways. I know a lot of people looked at her most recent bust and was like, oh no, it's coming back to top lane. But she's really good in such a variety of roles, and she's just a great utility. Forces the opposing team to pay that little bit of a tax to make sure they get that healing reduction, because without healing reduction, Soraka would be a mess.
Yeah, and Soraka can be played top, can be played support as traditional, can also take the farm bottom lane as well. So lots of different options for Soraka, especially since they removed the minion damage reduction. That first nerf they did when she first started getting played top lane. Is she's still able to pick up the farm and be that, especially paired with a Senna. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the Senna Soraka lane actually and how annoying it is to play against. But we do have Nautilus Aphelios being locked in, and Nautilus is a pretty good answer into Soraka. Anything that can hard engage on the Soraka, if she ends up being in the bottom lane, it's very good just to get her out of her comfort zone, make it to where she's unable to land the Qs and regen her own health. Just keeps her at bay and makes her have to position correctly, otherwise she's in big danger.
And don't want to be in danger when you're that champion, but you do see the set that's locked in. Very powerful champion as well. This actually means the Sark is still unknown. It's probably going to be a support, but it's still getting that set. Very powerful champion over inside of the top lane. And now we're starting to see some of these champion pools be pinched down a little bit further as TFT looking to put a little bit of love towards that top lane with the Ornn ban so far. Well, Polar is saying no Azir, none of that. Not coming at us with that today.
Yeah, taking away the Ornn, the Ornn items, always something to look forward to. And with an Aphelios, they've already got pretty good late game on the side of Polar Ace. So don't want to give over the Ornn empowered Infinity Edge to the Aphelios later on as well and make him even stronger, plus everything else that Ornn can bring. Taking away the Zillion as well to, give Graves or Aphelios an extra life. Not something you want to have to deal with later on. And banning the Azir and LeBlanc, just kind of different picks to try and take away from Strumpist here. Both kind of have a different goal in mind. LeBlanc is much more so an early mid-game focused assassin, burst mage, and Azir is about scaling as well. So it takes away a scaling option from the side of Team Fish Taco, but there's another late game scaling mage option in the Cassiopeia that is locked in for Team Fish Taco.
Very strong mage currently, still keeps their composition mostly hidden too, right? Like that's a champion that you're able to go ahead and use to kind of keep that AD carry pick. You don't know if this is going bot lane. Cassiopeia bot lane has been a thing as of late, and this forced Polar Ace to still be very considerate over that option as we see the Orianna that is locked in by them.
Yeah, and Orianna just all reliable, whenever the mid laner just kind of doesn't know what to play, kind of ends up being the default champion. Something that every player learns how to play when they play mid lane is the Orianna. The Renekton hover here into set and the actual lock-in is something that in theory sounds really good into set, but can be a bit of a trap because Renekton, if he does not get going, has a rough go of things later on. Obviously, with the Blade of the Rune King changes and Blade being as strong as it is, does mitigate the need for him to get going super early, as we've seen before. But final lock-in here for the side of Team Fish Taco, hovering that Lucian, it's going to be locked in. So looks like it's just going to be Soraka support, perhaps. Could be set support, and Soraka could go top.
Yeah, it is an option. I do think it's scary to play that into a Renekton because Renekton is one of the champions that can be very aggressive and find ways to get on top of the Soraka. So I'm probably thinking that we're probably going to see the set go up in the top lane and see the Soraka in the bot lane. But it is definitely an option for TFT depending on how confident they are into the matchup itself. I'm going to be watching that, see how they flex it around, because either one
There's
of these
something else. The way they're lined up right now, you could play the Lucian top lane into Renekton, just keep him at bay with that range and run Soraka set bottom lane, and that's kind of how they're lining up in client right now. And that's the way that they're going into it, is with Dog on Soraka, Wisp on set, and Dissident up in the top lane with the Lucian. So lots of flexibility in this draft, and they make use of it, swapping people around.
I think this is a good way to kind of just switch everything around. Make sure that you're off tempo. Not a lot of teams, I think, have practice against the Soraka set because a lot of people were maybe still used to back when they did the cheesy Senna stuff, where it was like Senna, Volibear, and all this other stuff. So I'm going to be very curious because Nautilus actually sets really good into Nautilus support, and Aphelios is a non-interactive support AD carry for a little bit once they get those weapon sets and get a little bit of items for a bit. So Soraka Set should be a good lane, especially with some jungler assistance.
Yeah, and Set is always good into melees. As the support, it's rough to play Set into ranged supports down there in the bottom lane. So definitely think that playing Set into Nautilus is a pretty good idea there. And you look at this, and you've got the Lucian who can survive and do a bit better than Renekton early on. And then Jarvan can provide some really good early gank pressure, especially up in that top lane as well. You've got late game with Cassio and Soraka. Cassio can provide your late game DPS as well as that Lucian later on. So, Team Fish Tacos flexes do make a lot of sense. But on the side of Polaris, you got a very good old-fashioned League of Legends team comp here. You got Renekton, strong early mid-game champion in the top lane. You got Graves, a good jungler. You've got Orianna, the Shockwave you can never look at. And you've got late game from your Aphelios and engage with Nautilus. So, Polaris has just a very tried and true team comp.
Yeah, all reliable versus this crazy new meta that these kids keep making. But with that being said, there's something crazy and new. Be sure to check it out. We're going to take ourselves a short break. While we are taking our break, be sure to check out this word from our sponsors from Sector 6.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity.
We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UPL. We're in week 2, getting ready with our first game of this series between Polar Ace and Team Fish Tacos. I'm Travis T. I'm joined here with Gus. And Gus, we are seeing, with a very interesting draft, we're seeing a very standard spread that is actually looking kind of unique over for the side of Team Fish Tacos.
Yeah, the set support chilling up top side right now, seeing if they can find anything level 1. Has the lethal tempo early on off of the Omni Stone, so that could potentially be something a little fun coming out there. As we see Dissident's club tag there, that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. That's a good one. I was actually like, what if the set stayed top lane and we just had Lucian set?
Sounds like an awful time for Soraka trying to 1v2 against the Nautilus support.
She just got buffs, man. She's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be watching this. I want to see if Dissident's gonna be able to pull this out, or if this was just an excuse for him to be able to play Pulsefire Lucian. But I am
It's
gonna
not
be
even
seeing
prestige though.
It takes some time to get that. It takes some time to get the prestige Lucian, guys. I don't know if you knew that. I'll be surprised who has that already, but you have to sink a lot of hours into the game to get that.
Oh, if anyone's gonna sink hours into this game, it's these players. Come on.
That's true. That's true. You know what? Fair enough. You got me on that one here, as minions have met in the lanes, and I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on the junglers on their routes here, because Graves, J4, two very strong junglers at the current moment.
Yeah, and obviously Jarvan EQ can level 2 gank. Opson said to go to his blue buff instead, not looking for that immediate level 2 gank. Graves gonna clear the entire bot side and hit level 3, it looks like. And nothing too crazy going on early on, as to be expected.
Pretty standard, nothing too spicy, right? We're gonna be looking at the side of Polar Ace to really start up some stuff, it feels like, if we have anything in the early game. But Whis is just going hard on the Nautilus. Like, hold him down for the haymaker. He's trying to use the dredge lane to get
One
out
more
of there.
banana.
Doesn't have the bananas to take him on out, but forcing the flash and heal from the bot lane of Polar Ace.
Yeah, and that's the power of Set as support. But here's the gank from Jarvan.
Yeah, forcing a flash immediately. And that's just the respect you have to give to the king when he throws down the pole.
Yep, definitely. Otherwise, Miasma's going to follow it up. You're going to be taking a lot of damage, forced out of lane, and probably forced to use your TP to get back to make sure you don't fall too far behind. But, just the respect being paid there by Hero in the mid lane feels pretty good for Aesthetic to get that gank off early for sure.
Yeah, and I do want to bring up Dissident already in this early part has the lane priority, and look at him. He has actually been really bullying top diff in terms of the CS department already in this. So showing that he knows what to do with the Lucian, and now it's just roaming in.
Ooh.
Graves in a tricky spot, does have to flash, got out of the miasma, will be safe.
Yep, with Nimbus Cloak, you flash, you get the movement speed, phase rush proc. He's fast boy, so he'll get out of there no problem. But Flair's trying to go in here.
Trying to see if he could get something started. J4 is here for the assist, and they do recognize that everybody else is there. Spawn taking a huge amount of damage down here in the bot lane, as J4 going to have to pay his respects. I said it, not trying to take any chances with the rest of this Polar Ace lineup up top.
Yeah, so lots of summoners being blown. Both junglers losing their flashes there. Strumpus used his as well. So, and down the bottom lane, we got Hex Flash Set, and that can always make some fun things happen down there in the bottom lane. But man, laning against something melee against Lucian in a solo lane is never fun.
It never is, right? It's just just suffering. It's all that you can call it. I do want to talk about the fact that the Aphelios backed on this, bought boots and a coal. And I feel like that's speaking volumes of how aggressive the Soraka set bot lane has been. Normally when you see a Soraka, you don't expect the battle mage to come out, but Dog has been laying out some TPS alongside the set.
Yeah, plus it's also just the way that Aphelios works. You want to get to the 3 and 4 items before you really start doing anything. So buying the coal just gives you that extra bit of gold as soon as you get that 100 CS. You get the 350 gold. Every time you kill CS, you get the 1 extra gold. Then you get to sell the coal back for its sell value. So if you're in a game for a long haul, coal makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they end up going with. They have this very standard composition like you were talking about before. So it just feels right for them to kind of say, all right, we're not as strong down here in the bot lane, but later on, we will be a menace for them to have to deal with here. 5 minutes into the game. First Drake is up. It is a Cloud. Could possibly see some action around there here in the near future.
Yeah, both junglers are on the top side, though. And with these 2 early game champions in Renekton and Lucian up here, look for something to happen, because it looks like Jarvan's pathing right in for the lane.
Yeah, and you see Flair's going in, trying to get those optimal trades for himself. Lucian trading it right on bat, but his dash has been used. He's low on mana. Here comes Dragon, looking to just hit a creep for himself. Got that smoke screen going, but over here in the bot lane, we got the action as Wiz trying to start something. Over in the top side, we're going right back. I'll set it. Gets the Flagging Dragon on the top diff as he is going to back it up. As the Colin coming out, but the minions are going to be able to face tank it for him. Got a couple minions that are tanking up some of the shots here. Dragon's going to look for the outplay here. Flagging Dragon coming.
Oh, he's dead!
Lucian's not there to follow up. Will be a trade of junglers there. A kill for both of them. Top might be looking for some slice and dice in his HP bar, and Dissident just getting caught out a little bit too far out.
Yeah, a bit of a... is a little bit on the sloppy side up there. We saw the culling come out. Hook does miss here. Set doing a bit of damage.
Yeah, gotta watch out. That turret does do a good bit of damage as well. Spawn looking to just retaliate as much as possible. Ignite has been used onto Wisp. They do have the heal that will be used onto Wisp, and looks like he will make it out of there with his life. He doesn't even have to recall. This is just watch.
Yeah,
it.
just
look at it.
Soraka things. All right, so we have a bit of a replay coming in. Hex Flash not going to amount to anything, but you look at the culling, hits the minions. The angle's not the correct angle to try and force it down, and Dragon Kim does put down a lot of damage, and Aesthetic tanks the tower. Dragon does go down to the minions, but then Flares just understands. You know, he's played League for so long, he's played Renekton for so long, just understands the range, what he's able to do with the slice and dice, gets on in there, picks up the kill onto Dissident, back onto live, and, you know, it sucks for him because he's got to get those ninja tabbies, though. You know, when you get a solo kill on Renekton like that, you kind of want to buy some damage. You want to feel good, you know, but landing against the Lucian, you need those ninja tabby.
Yeah, landing against Lucian, you don't get to feel good. That's not how it works. There's no support to catch him out when he dashes forward like that. It's all on you, and when you're a melee champion like that, you just want to feel good by not hurting as bad. As we
they are roaming up here, but there is a ward, a couple wards actually, so we'll see if Flares can sniff this one out, but he's going back towards tower.
He's going back in. The Cataclysm will come through, will lay out a bit of damage. They are still trying to push this on forward. Dissident is tanking the tower. Needs to be careful of dashes out of tower aggro. Strumpus is here in the area, does get the miasma, the Petrifying Gaze, hitting him from the side, and the Twin Fangs to finish it off, as the Drake did go down in the bot side, but a kill picked up for TFT.
Yeah, and just kind of standard, that's kind of like the quintessential TSM play. Invade the enemy blue and see what you can do in that lane on that side, and they pull off the dive and take a kill and give one over to Strumpus, which is always fantastic to get your late game carry the kills early on. So Strumpus feeling pretty good right now. You know, only down about 10 CS. It's not the end of the world when you are that late game Cassio and has the tier and the lost chapter, but Flares is just getting picked off.
In a bad spot. Yep, they know he does not have flash. They jump on forward. They drop his HP below half. They
no dominance
have a
either.
big rotation over here to the top side, but it looks like it's just going to be for Shelly.
Yep, but there is the scuttle down, so they know, and everyone's on the way. It looks like a team fight's brewing.
Yeah, they're smelling it in the air. They see Shelly. They say, hey, you guys can't be doing that. If you're going to do that, we're going to have to take somebody's life if possible. Here comes Wiz. He's going to be able to get a huge face breaker off, as Trumpus is now going to be grabbed and CC'd on up, and a top dip is going to find himself getting slammed into the ground, and that is going to be a kill for Dog on the Soraka.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy that only one kill ended up out of it. Everyone was so close together for so long. You know, that's the thing about team fighting against Soraka is you got to make sure that you pick your spots, especially when she's post 6, because the wish can always come out. And not only that, but just her passive lets her zoom around team fights and be crazy. And, you know, she kind of does reverse DPS. You know, she's not a traditional carry in terms of doing the DPS. She reverses the DPS. She nullifies the DPS. So she carries in her own way.
Yeah. She's the negator, right? She's just like, hey, you're not allowed to do stuff. Here you go. It's the exact opposite of Karthus, where instead of pressing R to kill everybody, she presses R and just makes it to where everything you did is null and void. I have to keep eyes on the positioning there of the Soraka, see if they'll be able to turn it around and be able to grab her on any of these. Graves in a tricky spot here.
Yeah, he should be all right as long as he doesn't get rooted there.
There is going to be that Knight
Here
popped onto him. Here
comes
comes the
Dissident.
Colin. They're going to be able to lay a lot of damage onto the Graves. Now it's going to be Fizzy. That's going to get jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him.
Oh,
Dissident
the Ardent Blaze.
and with the final shot. He's looking for more, though. He's still going for it. Gets the double kill. The Moonlight Vigil going to be able to lay out a decent chunk of damage, but nothing that they'll be able to keep him healed up through, as Soraka keeping him topped off throughout that fight.
Yeah, but Spawn is being threatened here a little bit. Forward dive does clear the way, but they're
be
still going for it.
He should be rooted up. Beautiful flash by Spawn. Forces the TP to come out from Hero on the Orianna. But not going to be able to mount that for anything else.
Whoa!
It's on the 3. Drops him low. The flag and drag
Just
from
one
a
of those,
second.
just those, hey, you're standing around the ball. You're disrespecting me. I'm going to show you that I'm willing to pull the trigger on this and pull him on in. You know, with just pieces of Ludens and no Sork Shoes, wasn't going to probably kill anyone there, but just the thing of, hey, don't disrespect the ball.
It did force the heal on a dog, right? Like, he did. He was just like, oh, I got to heal here. As that was a scary situation. HP bars were fairly low there. 2-5 currently the in-game score between these two teams, as TFT getting themselves a decent little gold lead to start off this game.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not like one team has a hardcore scaling advantage over the other. You know, you can never count out the Shockwave late game. Even with a Soraka, you know, there is enough damage there to really kind of make sure that you don't get caught up in a big Shockwave and lose that fight, especially with Aphelios. And you saw there, the Infernum Moonlight Vigil didn't do a whole lot of damage. That's just because he just has Longsword. Dissident getting locked up.
That's a depth charge to come through, and that's going to be Dissident's life taken out. Now, Strumpus is going to turn this around. Miasma not going to be as effective as they would like, but there's no Shockwave that's going to be available. The Haymaker coming on through Aesthetics, going to go golden and keep himself alive for a little bit longer. That's 2 kills. Turnover to TFT off of the J4 flashing up out of there, and Drake is going to be coming up here soon, so it looks like they're turning their advantage to that pit.
Yeah, and Distant just up just a little bit too far, and you know sometimes that's all it takes for you to get caught on out and go down. So you know, should be a pretty free Drake for the side of Team Fish Taco here, but Flares on the top side is getting some plates for himself. Should be able to get that one and potentially the third one. Now he's just going to turn for the minions. But 2 Drakes taken in the game, 1 for each side, and we do have Ocean Soul, which could make things very interesting considering there is a Soraka on one side. And imagine having a Soraka and Ocean Soul, and imagine finding a way to lose that game.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way, but I don't think they want to figure that out anytime in the near future. I want to point out, right, there is this kill gap that is going on, but the gold doesn't seem that far away. And I want to point out the CS differentials that are actually coming from the mid and bot lane here. Orianna and Aphelios really doing a good job collecting all this farm, while TFT is really roaming around as a group.
Yeah, and you know, the 30 CS differential mid, you know, good Orianna players are very good at being lane bullies, so nothing too crazy there. And Soraka, you know, as a normally 80 carry player, kind of hard to CS with Soraka. You know, the bananas don't hit that hard. You know, so you're mainly using your Q, and it's pretty easy to miss a bunch of CS on her. The 40 lead, though, is quite a bit, so we'll see how much the Soraka can get and how strong this Aphelios gets later. Cole, 4 stacks away from completion, already has the Executioners to try to mitigate the healing, has the long swords, so Spawn's on his way. It's still going to take a little bit of time, but soon he will be a champion.
And I just love how impressive this is. Fizzy was absolutely looking for a possible route to engage there, but immediately Soraka just throws that in that silence field, saying, nope, you're not allowed to throw out your dredge line or anything like that. You are going to just stay put.
Yeah, and there is the Cole completion. Looking at the gold difference here, Spawn is 900 gold up on Dog right now, so has 1800 in his inventory, so should be able to back and purchase whatever his heart desires here very soon. Gets a BF sword and a Caulfield, so going for that Essence Reaver on the Aphelios.
Is looking to go ahead and get that going, get that cooldown, get all the nice things that an Aphelios loves. That's what Aphelios need. As
I have seen a lot of Aphelios is just foregoing the Essence Reaver, though, and going straight into Infinity Edge. So, it's interesting to see some players prefer one way, some players prefer the other way. So.
Yeah. It's a preference thing, right? Like, you do see that quite often. A lot of AD carries are seeing that here. Ezreal's another one where people are having preference over the keystone of choice. Some like Conqueror, some like Lethal Tempo. So does come into a very interesting thing to kind of take note of with the AD carry pool. A little bit of diversity, even with the same champions being played. As see Vizzy roaming around with the Graves, looking for some sort of a possible pick, trying to be that second jungler for his team.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you have to do when you're Nautilus, because if you're just standing in the middle of a lane and throwing out hooks, you're probably never actually going to land one. So you got to find creative angles and find ways to make things happen from Fog of War, make things as hard for your opponents to scout you out as possible, because Nautilus is a pretty telegraphed champion.
You got to have that 400 IQ Nautilus gameplay, as they call it. You got to be able to do the things that you need to do. And you're a beefy champion without any items, so it's always nice. Graves, I'm sure, appreciates the extra CC 2-layer with it, as you see him just hovering around the mid lane saying, hey, I'll make sure you don't do any kind of thing too terribly funny. I'm going to be curious over what Soraka's end build is going to be. Wait, top div going in hard. Dominus.
Wish is available, though, so it's going to be hard.
Dissident is going to be able to get out. Wish available, and exactly what you were talking about early on in the game.
Yeah, and you think of playing against Soraka, kind of like playing against a Shen, where you always have to kind of think of the timer of the Wish or the Stand United in your head. You're like, do I really need a hard commit for this? Is the Wish going to make this to where it's a bad play? And, good sense from Dragon Kim there not to throw out the ultimate there, knowing Wish is going to come out. I'm just going to chase him all the way back. Invest the red smite just to see what happens. You never know, but not going all the way in.
Check this out. Over in the bot lane, there is a potential dive being looked at on Dissident. There's no Wish available. Depth charge is going to be used. Top diff is going to come on in. You're going to see the Nautilus trade the tower aggro, and top diff Flares going to be able to pick up that kill on Dissident. Very clean play on that dive.
Yeah, and Fizzy was able to use the Aftershock to tank up the turret shots as well as the shield on his W, so pretty much no way out of that one for Dissident.
No, none at all. He was stuck in there. When the Nautilus sets his eyes on you, it's very rare that you're able to get away from him. Strumpus going aggressive. Is going to be Flares getting out of harm's way there, though, but will force a flash out of the Renekton, as Spawn going to be able to get a top tower here completely uncontested.
Yeah, and now Spawn has crested the 7,000 gold mark, so should have enough to go back and finish Essence Reaver whenever he ends up back in the shop. And Strumpus really went for that because he had the Rylai's, so trying to use that slow to really chase down Flares, but Flares had flash, and nothing doing just yet. But the game's not going to be decided here in the next few minutes. It's going to be a bit later on once these late game champions get some more items, get some more levels. That's when the fun's really going to happen.
Well, we did just see a Ocean Drake that was grabbed up by TFT over on the red side, so grabbing the first of the Ocean Drakes for themselves, as some recalls had to happen from the other side. Looking at the item check, looking over at the Graves, it looks like we are going to have a BC Graves coming out here, so we're going to have the standard Black Cleaver build coming out from Dragon over here.
Yep, makes a lot of sense with Tank Jarvan and Tank Set support. Black Cleaver, pretty good item. 20% CDR, the armor shred, decent amount of AD, decent amount of survivability. Just, pretty much your one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm. It's always very nice. You get to get that Black Cleaver Death Stance, and it's just like, this Graves is stupidly tanky at that point in time, and it's going to be hard to kill him while he's.
And that's even before the crit gets stacked up too.
Yeah, it's gross. It is actually just gross. As looking at how the makeup of these teams are going, right now, all the lanes kind of pushed in favor of Polar Ace, at least on the top side here. While this Lucian trying to get an advantage down here on the bottom side.
Yep, and Blade of the Ruined King completed for both of these top laners. And looking at what items are going here, we got an Executioners actually picked up on the side of Dissident, so trying to negate the lifesteal from the Renekton on the Bork as well as the heal on his Q. And you see what Lucian can do, just try to kite him out, but when Renekton gets on you...
And jumping in, but there's the Wish, completely negating everything the Renekton did. All of his hard work was for naught as it gets turned around at a snap of a finger.
Did get the flash out of Dissident, though, so that is definitely something you can take back to your team. Say, hey, Lucian's got no flash, so we can try to dive him again if he shows up somewhere. But tower going down with the Shelly, as well as a fight trying to bust out, but Fizzy not able to land the Dredge line.
Yeah, got some chakrams to come out there, lay a little bit of damage onto the Grave, so always going to be nice. Dissident is farming up these Krugs. It's going to be sighted by the Graves, and all it's going to be is him setting his sights on them. The shotgun is very fierce in close quarters. Don't want to mess with that, as Dragon will be able to find a solo kill on the Lucian. Beautiful rotation coming out from the Graves there.
Yeah, and with Red Smite, man, it's just so hard to duel a Graves. Because you do reduce damage to him. He's tanky with his Grit passive. You know, you're feeling pretty good as Lucian. You got your board completed. You had Call Fields. You had more damage. You even have the Executioners, you know, for any incidental healing to come on out. But in the end, man, Graves wins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a feels bad. You're feeling confident. You got those items, but as you just said, Graves is a very hard champion to duel, especially with the Grit passive and items that he gets going. We're seeing a lot of pings coming out from the side of Polar Ace, looking to possibly try and encroach on the side of TFT, and actually having a little bit of a trouble pushing up these waves, it seems like, with the threat of Nautilus Orianna looming.
Yeah, and now is the point in the game where you look for the creative ways to find a team fight to start. You know, you have tools to make it happen. You have Shockwave. You have long-range Moonlight Vigils if he has Gravitum to try and root people up to buy your team time to come on in, if that's what you end up having to do. But otherwise, it's just kind of looking for Nautilus to try and find a creative angle to start something.
And interesting enough, the Soraka actually is going for a very supportive build. Wisp looking for something, has that lethal tempo, looking to be as lethal as can be. Stromp going to be in a bad spot, though. Depth Charge is going to be able to connect onto the Cassiopeia and the bad side. Shockwave going to be able to connect onto the set, going to be able to lay out a Haymaker, get himself a shield, and keep himself alive. As I said, it's trying to get out of harm's way, but it's just going to get free shot upon by Spawn. The rest of TFT has to back it up as Lucian trying to put some aggression onto the Renekton, but needs to get the heck out of there as he has the Goon Squad.
Oh, he's in trouble.
He is rooted up and will shortly go on down to an auto attack via the Orianna. And that is going to be another kill for Polar Ace.
Yeah, and Jarvan tried to dive the backline, but had absolutely no follow-up, so found himself in a 1v3 situation. And as Tank Jarvan, I don't even think he broke through the Orianna shield that hero threw on to Spawn, or the overheal shield that Aphelios got from Runes. So, yeah. No damage coming out of the Jarvan in that scenario. Had to flash out of his own Cataclysm. Still ended up going down. And then Dissident tries to get the kill on Flares and can't quite get out.
And it feels bad to be in full tank J4. You just shake your fist at the opposing AD carry. It's like, if I was full lethality, you kids, you would be taken out. You will see Rue today. You messed with full tank J4. Next game, full lethality J4 coming at you live. But not today. Not today, as seeing the rotation coming out from TFT. Just trying to clear up some vision. And a big undernote from Polar Ace there. They played around the knowledge of vision that they had that the opposing team did not have. So really enjoy seeing that.
Oh, Spawn with the cheeky blue buff steal. Using the Calibrum Q to get a mark on it and last hit it.
Sneaky, sneaky, as they say. Spawn doing a great job with that, saying no blue buff for you guys. It belongs all to me. All part of his plan to get the blue buff away from his jungler and his mid laner.
Sometimes as an AD carry, gotta be a little selfish, you know. Times are tough.
I feel
you
like
get one
all
shot by
times.
almost everything in the game, so you
I've
gotta
never
find
seen
the
a
little joys
non-selfish
in
AD
that.
carry, Gus. Okay, let's go ahead and get that straight. There's
Uh-oh.
gonna be a catch going on to J4. Aesthetic is in a scary situation, but not able to layer up the CC, so we'll just be dropped down to half HP. But what's that compared to when you have a Soraka on your team?
Yep, if you're not dead, you're gonna be full health soon. That's how Soraka works. If she can't save you, then you were probably gonna die no matter what. And
I
even
thought
just
you were
taking that
gonna
little bit of
say-
poke, she just heals it right back on up.
I thought you were about to say, if you're not dead, then you're gonna be alive. And I was about to be like, yes, Gus, that's very inspirational. I like it, yes. Woo!
Not quite that blunt.
Listen, man, that's how I do my color commentary. Okay, we stick with as much bluntness as possible. It works on time to time. But
Yeah.
26 minutes into the game, little dance around the Baron, clear out some of this vision to go around these teams. Pretty evenly stacked in terms of kills, but the gold advantage resting solely in Polar Ace's pocket.
Yeah, and that starts to be a little scary for the side of Team Fish Taco here. So like we said, Soraka doesn't do a ton of damage. She's more about negating damage. So you got to make sure that your damage dealers are in a fight when a fight breaks out. And when they're both just kind of chilling, one's in the side lane and one can side lane, but is generally chilling mid with you, you got to make sure that you have damage dealers there to follow up when your Jarvan goes in. And with Aphelios getting so strong, Runons has a BF sword towards Infinity Edge. You gotta ask, where's the damage gonna come from for the side of Team Fish Tacos? And it's gotta be Strumpus and it's gotta be Dissident.
I gotta say, every time that the camera cuts to the Soraka trying to push the wave, I get a little bit scared, as that was a shockwave, wasn't able to connect onto Strumpus, as Strumpus did flash. Dissident trying to jump onto top diff, laying out a good chunk of damage. We'll be slicing and dicing away from there, but the Dominus is immediately popped, and the turnaround is now. The Wish is going to be able to come out, but is it going to be
He's
enough
still
for
gonna
this
lose.
solution? Gets flashed on top of, and Flair's going to be able to pick up the solo kill.
Yeah, through the Wish, flash for flash. And that's the thing, Spear Shojin's gone. That item was something, to say the least. But now with Blade of the Rune King being what it is Strumpus is...
Wait a second. Strumpus looking for a solo kill of his own. Top diff is going to be...
I don't think he's going to win.
He's just jumping on the Strumpus.
Oh, he got it. Okay.
On top, being able to lay it down. But there's going to be the reaction coming out from Polar Ace. They're going to go ahead and start up the Baron for themselves. See what they'll be able to do, if they will be able to get his under 4K at this point in time. And you can see Polar is kind of shifting around, slowing down this Baron attempt, trying to see if they can calculate everything the way they need it to be. Depth charge is going to be able to connect on J4, but it's not going to be enough. The Polar Ace is going to be able to get the Baron. They're going to be able to get a lot of damage out. Wiz is going to be able to get a kill from nuking everybody. Spawn gets a triple kill. Strumpus is here in the area now, and it's just going to be the side of Polar Ace backing it up. Spawn saying, back off my jungler or you will be deceased.
Yeah, and that was a great call from Polar Ace, recognizing that both damage dealers from TFT weren't there. Strumpus was bottom, Dissident died. It was a fantastic time to go in for the Baron. Plus, Dragon's was up 2 levels on Aesthetic there, making a Smite steal incredibly unlikely. And we have a replay going in here of this Baron. So you look at it, it's at about 4,300 health right now, starting to go down. There's still no damage dealers here. They do pause to try and take notes on what's going on right now. But coming on in, getting the smite, and then watch this big-time Moonlight Vigil. As Spawn gets the Infernum, just boom! Tons of damage coming on out. I would make a 200 years joke here, but I think that clip speaks for itself.
Yeah, I would agree with you, as we cut back to live just in time to be able to see the Ocean Drake being snatched on up by the side of Polar Ace, putting themselves at soul point. But that Moonlight Vigil was absolutely beautiful, and Spawn picking up that triple kill there really has put him in a very good spot. And I feel like every single player, anybody who's played League of Legends, know what it feels like whenever you get to see an Aphelios that is this strong currently. The 3-item spike is here. It is now here, Gus.
Yeah, and it's the 3-item spike with more AD, because when you go Infinity Edge first, you generally don't end up getting the Essence Reaver. So with Essence Reaver, Runons, and IE, you have the 75% crit, but you also have the AD of Essence Reaver, as well as the 80 of Infinity Edge. So it made that Infernum ult just shred everyone. Everyone just exploded.
Yeah, and you're seeing the rotation coming on out. They're trying to make use of this Baron to go ahead and crack open some of these inner towers. And Phelios got the shove in on the wave. Spawn will be able to grab this gold as Fizzy and Dragon are over here on the other side of the wall, saying if you try to go for this Aphelios, it will be the biggest mistake of your life.
Yeah, and I think Aphelios can handle himself unless he gets completely CC chained. As long as he's able to auto, Spawn should be able to handle himself.
Are you sure about that? That's Soraka. I mean, that Soraka could come after him, man.
Well, so you see the damage that he did to Soraka from the other side of the screen and probably off of Dog's screen. You know, Calibrum Q, very cool. It used to not have a range. He could hit you in Fountain if he marked you as you were backing and kill you on your own Fountain. They did eventually add a range to it.
Yes.
It's pretty long range, but still a range. Better than no range at all. So, you know, insert more 200 years jokes there.
Yeah. Nothing more infuriating than dying inside the fountain. You're like, you were supposed to heal me.
I remember in Season 3 LCS when Wild Turtle sniped, I believe it was Maple Street, on the fountain. That good old-fashioned Season 3 LCS. It's always a fun time.
The good old days. The XDG days, as I remember them.
It was before that. Those were Vulcan days.
Was that when it was still Vulcan?
Not the player Vulcan either.
Okay, yeah. Not the player Vulcan. Not to be confused. Did not have a whole org named after him at that point. He was still in high school. But looking at everything that is going into this game in general, 32 minutes in, this gold lead has expanded into a 7K difference in favor of Polar Ace. And you gotta think, if you're TFT right now, if you're Team Fish Tacos, you gotta be thinking of how do you find your way back into this game and kind of close this gold lead.
Yeah, and I think the answer is to try and find a way to get Ocean Soul. And it's easier said than done considering how strong Spawn is. And Strumpist, you know, unable to find anything with that petrifying gaze right there. So, you know, we're gonna have to see what they do around this Drake.
Yeah, I feel like their eggs are kind of in the basket of Strumpist right now, as do have a little bit of a pause there, but it is something that we'll have to keep our eyes on to and seeing how they'll be able to pull out. As Dissident gonna immediately jump onto top div, Demont gonna be popped.
Wow, that is
Netton,
a lot of damage.
and Netton having to get out of harm's way, but I don't think he'll be able to escape. Dissident finding the kill there and will be able to push off the Renekton.
Yeah, and Dissident's build, you know, got the Essence Reaver, got some crit, got some CDR, also going Black Cleavers. So, you know, gonna have a lot of tank shredding, and, you know, Renekton going for the Death Dance will have a bit of armor as well as the Ninja Tabbies for the Black Cleaver to shred on through. Plus, you know, just having more HP means Soraka can heal you up higher.
Which is
so,
nice.
you know, yeah, having more HP for Soraka to fill back up, always a good thing.
Make the ambulance a little bit more effective for yourself, as really Soraka's goal here with the items of choice. Has that 40% CDR and has that Ardent, Athene's Redemption, and a cooldown boots. So,
and with another Forbidden Idol, we'll have to see what that Forbidden Idol builds into.
Something forbidden, I assume.
Yeah, I think Mikhail's builds out of that, and I think Shrelia's builds out of that now that it's been changed. But you know, just support Soraka, but with 200 farm. You know.
Yeah. I would actually like a Shurelia's for this team. I feel like one of the scariest things for them is they haven't really been able to find any way to kind of go at advantageous times for them.
Well, here's a Predator.
Looking for stuff, but look at this.
Dog!
Gonna immediately get depth charge, but the Redemption will be there to keep Dog alive for a little bit longer. Not gonna be too concerned, but you're just looking for the plays, and Dissident is getting jumped onto. The Graves looking to glack away at him, and it's gonna be collateral damage. Dissident will go down to the Graves as
But we'll see if that
Aesthetic.
denies them the chance to get Soul right here. But pulling in
Just
Aesthetic.
look at this. The Cataclysm coming on in. Going to be able to get a little bit of healing onto him. That's going to be a huge Petrifying Gauge coming on the top div. They're going to be able to get the Ocean Drake. So no Ocean Soul for Polar Ace just yet. And they will be able to find themselves a kill as well. But Nasher was taken over onto the other side.
Rylai's
Oriana
slow.
looking to try and kite summon back, but Fizzy is going to go down to Strumpus. Now Hero in the terrible situation is he has no mana, but it's just looking like the Graves and a Aphelios show. Moonlight Vigil not going to be able to hit onto anybody there, and it should force the side of TFT to back it up and defend their base.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Polaris got the Baron. Aphelios was there with the Chakrams, was able to burn that down real quick with Graves' help. And look how much damage he's doing to Aesthetic.
Yeah, Aesthetic is dropped down so very low, not going to be able to get rooted up, but a TP also happened over in the top lane. Oriana taking a top tower as well, so that's 2 inhibitors laid bare and 1 that will be destroyed off of that. And what a just big move from Polar Ace there, utilizing the Baron to the fullest that they possibly could there.
Yeah, they will get the one inhib, won't get the other, but now soul point for both teams. That fight around this next Drake in about 4 minutes is probably going to be the game decider. Strumpus very strong. Rabadon's completed Seraph Stun, Zanya's, Rylai's building up towards a Banshee's Veil does appear, and Spawn on the other side has the full reminder as well as his 75% crit, also has a Vamp Scepter, which will more than likely be Bloodthirster or Mercurial Scimitar. And, once he completes that item, Spawn's full build. And a full build of Aphelios is very scary to play against.
Yes, 100% agreed. You were talking about 3 items being terrifying. Let me tell you about the legendary 6-item Aphelios. That is a very terrifying sight. It's not a story that anybody would tell you, but it is a power that feels quite unnatural.
Yeah, and Hero is getting close to completing a Rabadon's as well. So the Shockwave, we saw it do about half of Soraka's health the last time it got used on Soraka. With the Rabadons, things get a little bit scarier for the side of Team Fish Taco to be grouped up because the Shockwave is really going to pack a punch. Plus, if you combine that with another Inferno Moonlight Vigil, I think they just blow everyone up. Someone's getting a Penta at that point.
Yeah, Oriana's not there with them, though, but it is looking like that TFT is just going to show some respect to this 4-man squad here. Strumpus trying to see if he can kite this out, but an aggressive flash forward coming out from Hero will be the shutdown on the Strumpus. Now it's only 4 members of TFT alive. That is going to be, there must be pop by top diff flares. Looking to just be a little bit more tanky. Going to have the Colin coming out from Dissident, trying to get some wave clear as the slow siege coming on through. Redemption is going to be utilized, but it's just going to be the set getting absolutely obliterated. Here comes the left hurrah. But TFT not going to be able to find anything. Another kill. They go over to flares, and it's just going to be a scuffle on the fountain as Polar Ace is going to be able to pick up this win. Can they get the kill on the Dissident to buff up the KDAs? They will! At the very end, will be unstoppable 5-0-3 on the day.
Yeah, and, looking at it, the carries of Polar Ace went deathless that game. 2-0-9 for Hero, 5-0-3 for Spawn. And, on the side of Team Fish Taco, Strumpus just wasn't able to get in position for these fights to really be able to have an impact outside of the fight where they traded Baron for their own soul point. There, Strumpus was able to pick up some kills. But in the end, man, the traditional team comp came out on top. And, the top lane, putting your carry up there, both the top laners, in the end, scoreline-wise, had a rough time. They did do a lot of fighting each other. They both went back and forth a little bit in fights, but in the end, man, Soraka just wasn't enough. Even though Dog didn't die, didn't provide enough for his team in that game. Mm-hmm. But Spawn and Hero, man, especially Spawn, was just such a monster at the end there. We saw those big Infernum crits coming out at the end there, just really blowing everyone away. And Hero got that last kill on Strumpus to really seal the deal, making sure that they had no way to defend their base.
Yeah, I feel like that was a problem that we saw from TFT's composition there, was Strumpus was the main carry as the game went on longer. And that's great and all, but when you put all your eggs in one basket, you do put yourself in a difficult situation. And even when they were able to get the J4 to jump into the bat side, we saw it time and time again. Cassiopeia cannot follow that up, or Cassiopeia not there at that point in time. And even like every time we looked at Directicam and it shifted us over to the Soraka, right? We were looking at the Soraka going, well, that's pitiful wave clear. And it just felt like Polar Ace was just very proactive with the composition that they pulled out. And even though they were down by like a K at one point in time, they were just like, it's no worries. We scale, we get better. And they've got all their eggs in one basket while we get to run our basket all the way to their Nexus and make it explode eventually. Especially when the Aphelios got all those items, man. That was disgusting amount of damage he was able to put out.
Yeah, both the carries had over 350 farm. Spawn was approaching 400 farm. So lots of gold to spend. Had the Vamp Scepter towards his last item. So 5.5 item Aphelios, pretty darn strong. And then that one Baron fight where he just blew them all up with that Infernal, man. It was definitely a game that Team Fish Tacos could have won. They just could never get people in the correct positions, it felt like, to actually take advantage of what their team comp offered.
Yeah, it had a harder composition to pull off. That is absolutely for sure. But hey, that's not the end of the series. This is the end of one game. And I'm going to be very curious to see how these two teams are going to duel against each other in the Nets pick and ban phase, because this was a very, very unique one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take ourselves a short break, catch our breath, get ourselves ready, because when we come back, it is going to be game 2 between Polar Ace and TFT. Be sure not to touch your browser. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to UPL. We got TFT, Team Fish Tacos, taking on Polar Ace. Polar Ace just coming off of a very clean way to win a game for sure, with a very strong finish, but they are going to have to pick up another W if they want to close out the series. TFT still in this. I'm Travesty. I'm joined here with Guster. And Gus, the series is looking interesting just from the draft alone. I'm ready to see what these teams have for each other yet again.
Yeah, I mean, saw the Soraka. I was wondering how long it was going to take before Soraka showed up, either top or bot or support or even mid lane. You never know where they're going to play Soraka. But yeah, overall, just the tried and true team comp came out on top. Wasn't enough damage on the side of Team Fish Tacos. Cassio wasn't able to 1v9 that game even with the Soraka, and Polar Ace, they had the big time Fed Aphelios, they had the Fed Oriana, they were able to make it work. So we'll see what they got for us in game 2, because Team Fish Tacos still looking for their first game win so far this season, are currently sitting at 0-3 in games. So, they're hungry for their first win. Polar Ace got their second and looking for their first series win. So should be an exciting time.
Absolutely should be. And when you look over at how Polar Ace won that last game, they played a fairly steady early game. And with us going into draft here, I'm going to be curious to see if there is going to be any adaptation in the bans or the picks, since we are seeing these two sides swap.
Yeah, we do have a Maokai ban earlier on from the side of Team Fish Tacos. They did ban it last pick of their first round of bans last time around, and Polar Ace gonna be answering back with the Misfortune ban once again. So Polar Ace just doesn't want to play against Misfortune. I can feel that. There's just a lot of different things. You just chill in lane and you get a little too close to your minion, and then a bullet comes out of nowhere, or a mini ball comes out of nowhere and smacks you in the head and crits you, and you're like, oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I couldn't exist in my own lane. Sorry.
Speaking of damage that hurts, it's not going to crit you, but Syndra being taken away, as that's the ultimate stat check. Not going to see that on display here today. See what Polar Ace has in store, and it is going to be the Graves ban, so they don't want to give that over to Team Fish Taco.
Yep, the best jungler in the game pretty much right now, so might as well take that one on away. And following up that, we'll see what Team Fish Tacos wants to do. They're going to take the Zillion away yet again. So, no resurrection. They're
great champion.
They played Soraka last time, but actual resurrection is where they draw the line.
Yeah, they're like, no, you cannot null and void all of our damage. You can do all of that. You can cast a wish, but no chrono for here today. It's going to be the Varus as the last ban by Polar Ace. We'll have to see what Team Fish Tacos does decide that they want to put their first pick priority on here and see what they'll lock in for themselves. It's going to be a set. Very flexible champion.
Yeah, set can be played in 4 of the 5 roles, or even all 5 if you're brave enough. And, in terms of actual effectiveness, it probably goes top, support, then mid and jungle, but Ornn being the counter pick here for Polar Ace, and Ornn Set, man, that was the big matchup when Set first came out. That was pretty much what we saw in pro play all the time if those two weren't banned. And Trundle being locked in for Polar Ace, means that if you really want to play tanks, they're going to have a rough go, because the Subjugate is a very powerful ability.
Yeah, and with Graves banned away, Graves being the premier carry jungler at the current moment in time, I do like this. It's kind of saying, all right, we're dwindling down your champ pool, but hey, you got the queen still sitting there in the back. Rek'Sai going to get locked in, and Rek'Sai, very strong champion at the current moment. You see her, she is a terror actually inside of solo queue, and be very tricky to deal with.
Yeah, still very strong early on, is able to pull off the creative gank path with her burrows, and Team Fish Taco is just going to lock on in the Cassio yet again. So see if Polar Ace wants to answer it right on back with the Oriana, or if they got something else in mind here for their pick. But, the Cassio Rek'Sai combo is actually a very nasty combo to be ganked by, because you get the miasma thrown down on you, and then the Rek'Sai comes in with the tunnel, unburrows, knocks you in the air while you're stuck on the miasma. You can't flash out when you're done landing. And Rek'Sai early game with Hail of Blades is able to auto you very quickly, does a lot of damage, and makes your life living hell for the most part. But Aphelios will be the lock-in for Polar Ace, and Kog'Maw will actually be taken away from Team Fish Tacos. And they're going to follow that up with a Thresh ban. So no lanterns for Aphelios, no hooks to make things happen.
Yeah, I like this. Get rid of some of the safety net. We don't know where this set's going. It was played in the support role last time for TFT, so it could very well be played in the support role again, as Wiz did have a good performance on the set early game. So could see a same response. Could see them actually ban away some other supports that set support doesn't really want to deal with too much. We do see the Yuumi ban. Always a very annoying champion to have to deal with, especially if anybody puts any time on it. It's just like, no, I'm not today. Nope.
Yeah, and Rakan will actually be the ban away by Team Fish Taco. And, it's not very often that you see Rakan played without Xayah. It's generally more common to see the Xayah without the Rakan. But when you got a good Rakan player on the other side, you might as well take it away, because he, even without Xayah, still able to make those fancy engage plays, and still able to shield people, just not as long a range on it.
Yep, and I do like this Braum pickup here. They said you were not going to let you pick Braum if that is going to be an option that you guys look at doing here. Braum's very effective into Warren, so going to grab that, as it looks like TFT is going to grab themselves a Vayne here, so gonna have to see if he'll be able to put out the style points in this game for Soraka the Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, Vayne spotting at its finest, and what a 180, like you said, from Soraka to Vayne, just complete opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to bottom lane. But this does mean that there is a lot of late game potential on the side of Team Fish Taco this time, as well as on the side of Polaris. We got Ornn with Aphelios, lots of stuff to look out for with Aphelios, with the ornaments, with the Molten Edge being able to be built later on in the game. And we'll see what we got, and it looks like it's just going to be the Orianna lock-in, it looks like, for our final pick. Oh, hovering. That would be fun.
That would indeed be fun. And
all right.
Man, that's a Ziggs. That is a lot of AoE to come out here. And I got to say, you look over at Polar Ace, yet again, they have a composition that loves to team fight you yet again.
Yeah, and with that Ziggs pick, it's actually a really good pick into the Team Fish Taco team comp, because Vayne is pretty low range for an AD carry. Cassio has some decent range, but it's not overly long. They're both well in the range of Ziggs to do anything with his basic spells, and then obviously the semi-global super mega death rocket bomb destroyer missile laser of doom. If he can land the middle of the super death bomb explosion death missile Death Star onto Strumpus and Dog, they're gonna take a heaping amount of damage.
I did not realize that Ziggs' ultimate ability is a constantly changing name. I'm gonna have to take note of that. But I'm really excited with that. Ziggs is a fun champion to be able to watch in competitive play, because it also means that you're going to see a lot of macro coming out, because he runs over, he says, oh, that tower's low, let me make a rotation over there, get this satchel charge. Very good sieges to come out there. And when you pair that together with an Ornn Trundle, there's actually a lot of control that goes around in a lot of these fights. A lot of layers of slows to be put out, and it's going to be very cool to see. TFT though, I do like this composition a bit more. They do have a little bit more in the threat department. It's not just all on Strumpus's shoulders. Aesthetic, Dog, and Strumpus really have ways to be aggressive as Dissident.
And Dissident too, yeah. The thing I have though is thinking about Cassio and Vayne trying to approach and find a way to kill Ziggs and Aphelios. Sounds like they're playing a bullet hell game, and they're just going to have every movement is going to have to be pretty much perfect. Otherwise, they're going to get hit by a ton of random damage and probably show up in the actual fight at like 3/4 health or half health. running through Ziggs bombs, through the Ziggs minefield, through everything Aphelios can throw at you, not to mention everything that Braum, Trundle, and Ornn do, is going to be real interesting for the side of Team Fish Taco to actually find fights that are advantageous for them. And this game may just evolve into a 1-3-1 yet again with Strumpus and Dissident in the side lanes and everyone else in the middle area.
Yeah, and that will always be a very spicy thing. But Gus, with that being said, I do need to tell you about something that will never devolve. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a keyboard from Kono. What else did you think I was going to talk about? We are talking about Kono here, baby. It is the finest place to be able to find yourself, the finest of peripherals. Get your gaming keyboard, whatever you want to have. You're playing Valorant, you want to click heads better, boom, you can go to kono.store and be able to click heads even better than anybody else. You're playing League of Legends? Wow, you know what's more satisfying than hitting the R key? Hitting the R key on a Kono keyboard. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to go ahead and check them out. They are one of our lovely sponsors. They always make some fantastic things happen for us over here in Upsurge, and I never hear anything bad about a Kono keyboard. So be sure to check them out today. That is at kono.store. That's spelled KONO.store. I don't need to spell store for you. I think you guys got it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take ourselves a short break. When we come back, we are going to see TFT taking on Polar Ace in our second game of the series. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to UPL. We threw it back live so that way you can see these two titans in the top lane already duking it out with each other. But we have a game coming up at you from TFT versus Polar Ace. We're in the second game of the series. My name is Travis. I'm joined here with Gus. And if you are wondering why it is a little bit past due, Spectator Client is a little mystery, a little present that sometimes you unravel.
Pandora's box of code and bugs and all sorts of other stuff.
That might be what it is as a gift bot. Some people look at it as a gift bot. Most people look at it as Pandora's box because you don't know what you're getting, but on most occasions it will be bad.
Yeah.
But are getting into this game. Nothing crazy happened in the level 1. We are seeing these two behemoths in the top lane slugging it out against one another already. Just doing top lane things, just punching away at each other, breathing on each other, all sorts of craziness.
Yeah, I mean, breathing on people nowadays is frowned upon. Used to be kind of a minor inconvenience, but nowadays it's actually like a, whoa, man, what are you doing?
It's my go-to excuse on why my team should not draft me Ornn. Just like, I'm not supposed to do this, guys. It's in my guidelines. I'm sorry. This is a thing that I have to do, but unfortunately it does become a reality because they just look at me and say it's open, you're playing it. Congratulations. It's either that or Maokai, man. It's a tough life. But you see Trundle coming in for a gank here, is going to chomp away. Pillar comes out a bit too at the same time as the flash from Wisp. So Wisp not going to get caught out by that pillar, but will be a flash. So successful gank coming out from the Trundle. By the way, phase rush Trundle. Gus, I need your opinions on it. How are you feeling with this? I
mean, it's interesting. I'm a fan of PTA Trundle. Mm-hmm. Makes your gank do a bit more damage, but one thing that can counteract Trundle is running away from him. So phase rush being able to continue to chase people down seems fine as long as you're able to actually get it procced and get it going. And looking for a dive on the top lane perhaps, but I think top diff is just gonna flash away and be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get out of that.
It was so unimportant that Spectator Client decided we didn't even need to look at it.
It's top lane, man. Who needs to look at top lane as we're seeing Fizzy just taking a little bit of damage. He's got the door up. It says you're not allowed to come in. But Dissident did go very hard on that, by the way. He chased the Ornn all the way back to his inner tower. Just wanted to spread a message at that point in time. Just like, hey, this tower does not belong to you ever.
Yeah, and one of the lanes that Aphelios is actually good in laning phase is against the Vayne, as we can see, especially with a Braum by his side, able to really push the Vayne on in and make her have to last on her tower. We already see a 12 CS differential starting to form here, and we'll see if Dog is able to stabilize that or not.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Vayne, as champion, just needs 2 items to really get going, but the faster you can get there, the better for sure. As that is always the ideal situation to have here. Seeing over onto the other side, we've seen some backs actually completed on the other sides of the map. A cold start for Dissident here over in the top lane playing the set. A very curious first buy for myself to see.
Yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of bruisers and people like the Lucian top can do into a tank matchup because they're it's a tank. Nothing too crazy is going to happen. I mean, Ornn is a different class of tank. We've heard LS describe him in many different World of Warcraft classes, but it shouldn't be too big a deal for Dissident to sit there and farm that Colon up and get the extra gold out of it. Shouldn't be a big deal whatsoever.
I'm amazed by the discipline that Spectator Client showed right there. It just showed bot lane farming for the longest time. Usually Camera would not stay in one place that long, but definitely wants us to pay special attention. It's a sign that bot
it's
lane
trying to apologize for not letting me load in at first.
But hey, you know what? I'm going to take this as a prophecy, right? I'm going to take this as a prophecy. We're going to see action happen in the bot lane. It's not because Drake just spawned or anything like that. I'm just going to say it's a prophecy. It's meant to happen. Top lane, we're going to see some bot lane, we're going to see some action. Top lane, nothing going to ever happen.
Yeah, I mean, it is Aphelios versus So unless the Vayne, that lane steps up a little bit, it's
Ooh,
not going to happen. But
Petrifying
there's Petrifying
coming
Gaze.
in. Hero going to take a lot of damage. He's going to have a good rotation coming on in. Brom's going to be able to come in there, shield away some of the damage. Fizzy's taking
Here's Dissident.
damage. Dissident's over here into the backside. Strumpus is going to take the Mega Inferno Bomb as Dissident just goes for the layup, gets the first blood. And now it's going to be Fizzy that is going to find himself going down to the Haymaker. And I was wrong both ways. All the actions happening mid lane.
Yeah, and that's the dream TP for a top laner, man. You show up, you get first blood, and you get the kill on the way out, and they're going to transition this into a dragon, so should be pretty free and easy for them.
Yeah, they have the position on it. Trundle having to run his way.
Oh, they're actually going to try and contest it.
They might go for it. This might be contested. The day and Knight is coming out onto Spawn, laying out some damage onto him. Spawn in a tricky spot, but Braum able to get there just in time. But this does mean that they're going to have to back up Spawn too low to continue contesting this. So this will be the first Drake going over to decide a TFT.
Yeah, and after that, we do have a replay of the first blood fight. We're going to start after he already satcheled himself over the wall, and here comes Dissident. Backs on up to let Dragon walk on up to land a good showstopper to get that kill. Strumpus did go down to the Ignite from Fizzy, but so much damage coming out, and then the Haymaker to finish off the double kill. And as a set player, you're feeling real good about yourself after that one.
Mm-hmm. I would say it also feels good whenever you're able to use the showstopper, right? You don't kill anybody with it, but somebody's just low enough when you pop out of there. You're like, oh, a free kill with one auto. Punch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't honestly even die to the showstopper, because its base damage on it is 200 plus a little scaling plus 40% of the enemy's health. And he grabbed Trundle, who is no slouch when it comes to health early on. He had only like 250 HP. But either way, did end up getting the kill, so he's happy about that one. And, it's a good start for the side of Team Fish Taco. Once again, still looking for their first game win of the season. Up 500 gold at this point is pretty good, especially when, we both kind of looked at in Champ Select. It was like, there's a lot of AoE for this Cassio and Vayne to dance through later on. So getting whatever lead they can is paramount.
100% agreed. I'm going to have to see now with the Trundle recalling here is going to be going for that Cinderhulk build. And I'm going to be curious to see how he enables the Ziggs, because I think the big thing with a Ziggs is trying to gank this Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia doesn't really enjoy Trundle ganks. That pillar is very annoying for him to deal with. His top diff, aka Flares, is down here in the top lane looking to just be a pest of that call the Forge God available.
Yeah, and the Vayne Morgana bottom lane did swap on up to the top lane, but Strumpus
charge into the pillar, and it's going to be a kill that goes over to Dragon on this Trundle. Really well done off of that gank.
Yeah, just, Strumpus was out of mana. Didn't have enough mana to cast the Petrifying Gaze there, so Trundle able to just run on up, proc the phase rush. Actually ran past him, especially with the pillar. And there is going to be some damage traded on the top side here. Dog and Wisp and Aesthetic going to get some plates here. And they really just noped on out of that bot lane matchup they were in. They didn't want anything to do with it anymore. Here comes Shelly to get a couple more plates. We'll see if they're able to get the full thing. But yeah, Call the Forge got to get a wave clear a little bit.
Trying to just get a little bit of wave clear. It's going to put that tower in critical condition here. Have to see how they end up going for
that. Look how confident Flares is just walk up to
going to get dove here. Showstopper coming on in. Going to be able to lay a good amount of damage. Fizzy's dropped down so very low. Spawn looking for the possible kill here. Still possibly. They're going to use the Glacial Fissure, but there are no minions. Moonlight Vigil will be enough. And Spawn with the calculated ultimate play to get that set out of the game for a little bit longer. Push him back to the fountain. Top lane action's not over just yet. Flare's in danger here.
And it feels real bad for Dissident, as I believe Flares is going to be just fine. Had his cull about halfway done, was feeling pretty good. Got the kills, but then this lane swap happens, and he's been given the Season 5 Dyrus treatment. Just, all right, go lane swap, go 1v2, have fun. Gets dove. Still 55 CS away from finishing his cull. His ADC's up in top lane getting plates and getting gold, and he's like, the life of a top laner.
The poor life of a top laner, indeed. I know that pain all too well. Over on the other side, we do see some builds that are coming out. I like the fact you talked about the early start for Set, but Aphelios just got his first item and taking a different step this time on spawn. He is getting the IE as his first item this time instead of the Essence Reaver.
Yeah, it looks like he's wanting a bigger power spike when it comes to the actual auto attacks, getting that extra crit damage. But here comes a 1v1 in the top side here.
Yeah. And they're gonna have a gentleman's disagreement and then back away from each other, just as top.
Yeah, I mean their ultimates are coming up soon, so once those ults are up, look for these guys to get a little froggy. But here comes Trundle.
Yeah, that might be looking to get a little bit trolly. Here comes the Soul Shackles going on to Fizzy. We'll force the flash off of the Braum there. We'll get some vision on him and nobody else. Aphelios down low, and you do see the mid jungle looking for something possible here. Shampus is going to be caught out in a bad spot. Mega Inferno Bomb going to be able to lay out the damage for him. Dissident and the Ornn looking to fight it on out. The Call of the Forge God is going to be used. They're going to be able to get it, and it's going to be the tower being the ultimate assist as Flares picks up the solo kill in the top side.
So what happened there was Dissident was just a little bit late on the showstopper. If he did it just a little bit earlier, would have stopped the second half of Call of the Forge God from coming, which would have made the Brittle not proc. Still might have died to the tower there, but probably would have been able to at least pick up the kill on Flares there. So it's just that little bit of time that he gave Flares to smash the second half of Call of the Forge God came in clutch there.
That's the trick about the Ornn versus Set matchup, right? Using your abilities at the right time for both of these champions is a very pivotal thing, and got to see an example of that there. Now, they did grab a Ocean Drake for themselves over on the side of Polar Ace, and currently gold lead in favor of them, just 1k, but is a lead nonetheless.
Yeah, and with the team with the arguably better team fighting, you've got so much random leave for them to get around. But flash.
Yeah, there's a satchel charge. Going to be able to use that. Great on Hero's part to keep that saved on up. But looks like this is going to be a bot lane tower that is going to go down in favor of Polar Ace. Nothing they can do to stop it, as they do not want to have the Trundle Pillar behind them and cut off all their escapes.
And there's a very good play from Polar Ace there to make sure that they get the last plate gold out of that tower. They did not get first tower gold, though, but was able to supplement their gold with that last plate. And already, man, spawn with the Infinity Edge, just make it hard for Dog, because, Vayne definitely needs the full 2 items. Needs the Blade of the Rune King and the Ginsu's Rage Blade in order to start feeling good and start being able to actually do a lot. But when Spawn's already got an Infinity Edge and a Zeal, and you haven't completed your Blade of the Rune King yet, things feel bad.
It's
even with the Berserker's Greaves, it's just not the same.
You do not want to be behind the curve of items there, as you can see Hero just being a menace with these bombs. And that's tower. Not very long for this world if Hero is able to get a good push onto it. Satchel Charge will be a good enough. 6 passive is actually pretty disgusting into it. It's seeing another potential dive in the top lane.
Yeah, we'll see if Dissident actually sticks around this time or not, but control is put on the bot side here. And, Flares could get collapsed on his aesthetic finds him here. Let's see if the rest come on over.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to commit to anything. They don't want to go too crazy for an Ornn. This is going to be a top tower that goes down, while over on the other side, you see TFT looking to grab this bot tower and lay out the damage. That's going to actually get
that's so much damage, though.
That's going to be a ton of damage, and he's going to go for the call of the Forge God, but he's not even going to be able to complete the call, as Dog going to be able to pick up that kill. And Spawn looking for a kill onto Dissident Net, saying, I will trade my top laner for a top laner. Set will be able to escape that, as Polar Ace is going to grab that mid lane tower for themselves.
Yeah, and that is one thing Vayne at this stage in the game is very good at, is killing people who have a lot of HP and not a whole lot of resistances. Does have the Silver Bolts maxed out, so doing big time damage, obviously with every third auto attack. So was able to pump out a ton of damage onto Flares, as we saw there. Feeling pretty good about that. Down 20 CS, but even up the kill score. Both 80 carries, 1, 0, and 0. And she's back with 2,300 gold. So should have Bork completed, and we'll see what else Dog wants to buy.
Yeah, imagine, the infamous
More daggers.
Blade of the Ruin King and some more daggers to go over towards that Rage Blade would be very nice, especially against a composition just like this. Dog's going to have a pivotal eye, has that exhaust in his pocket, so going to be the playmaker for himself and going to be trying to make sure he just stays alive and outputs as much damage as possible for his team. We do have Drake coming up here in a minute as well, so could be an interesting little tussle that could possibly happen.
Yep, and we'll see these teams fighting for vision around the next objective, but Dissident's in a pretty bad spot here.
He's in danger. He's taking a load of damage. The Haymaker Shield is going to be able to come out, but it's not going to be enough. Uses the Showstopper to try and find a way out. Dissident says, I will farm on my way out. I got to complete this coal, baby, as Top Diff will get the kill.
Yeah, and since we've last talked about it, he only picked up 24 farms. So feels bad, man, in the chat for Dissident. He's not having a good time anymore.
Press F for the coal. That coal not getting completed anytime soon. He just wants some farm, man. That's all he wants. Just let him complete his coal, guys. But that doesn't seem like that's going to be the flavor that Polaris is going to do there. And does turn into a very interesting bit, as it looks like we are going to have a pause coming out here. It looks like there is a slight DC. Should be getting back into it, and we are going right back into the game.
And that is one of the perks of coming into the game a little late, is the pauses kind of speed up a little bit.
Yeah, which is always nice. I like that. I'm a big fan of that. Pauses drag time on forever, and something that won't drag on forever is going to be this Dragon Take, going to be taken down very quickly by the side of Polar Ace, and that will be their second Drake of the game. Call the Forge guy coming on in, going to be looking for a possible kill onto Dissident. Does have the Trundle to back him up. They're going to be able to CC him up, and this set, hey, let the man complete his coal, please.
They will not. He's down 30 CS now, 2 flares, and man, you can tell that Dissident is just not a happy camper right now. Did get sacked by his team in order to give Dog a chance at coming into the game, and we'll see if that ends up happening in a pretty decent spot to try and do that right now. But man, I'm sure Dissident is a little grumpy right now.
I don't even think he has any lunch money to give them anymore. Like, I feel like they've taken.
Yeah, he's got 400 gold in his inventory, but there's
here we go. The flash forward. Hero takes a decent chunk of damage, but Strampa's trying to force that play. Fizzy looking to pursue, knows that there is nothing there, and backup is on the way. Is going to have that Trundle available coming through the river. Going to be looking for that pillar. Going to have a TP coming on in. Mega Inferno Bomb coming in. Strampa says, come at me, cowards. You brought 3. I brought my whole team. Let's get it. Glacial Prison going to be coming on in. They're going to have a lot of damage coming over, but
Aesthetic
going golden. Aesthetic gets out just in time. Doesn't get hit by the minefield. Beautiful flash coming from the Rek'Sai. And despite all the summoners used, nobody goes down.
Yeah, that's the duality of the Rek'Sai ult. It's a fantastic execute, but it puts you in the middle of the team. When there's an AoE mage sitting there in the Ziggs, you got to be careful about where you're going to end up. Mm-hmm. And a great stopwatch from Fizzy to make sure that didn't take any damage from that Rek'Sai ultimate and pulled the Rek'Sai on in. And man, game of inches right now.
It really is, as we do see Flares be able to grab the inner tower down in the bot lane, so it's going to be good for him to be able to grab that for himself. And going to be a feels good story for him.
Dissident is so close, man. 15 CS, two and a half waves. That's all he needs. 2.5 waves.
Unfortunately, wards do not count towards it, and he is in a dangerous position. He is on a ward. He doesn't know he's on a ward, but he is on a ward. He's going to get spotted out. Minefield's going to come in. They're going to be able to lay out a lot of damage. And Dissident is going to be caught out and taken care of. Another kill going over to Flares. That is just a feels bad. He's just like, man, they're going to expect me to be in the side lane, completing my call. Jokes on them. I'm waiting inside the jungle. They were expecting that.
Yep, he was warded. Happens to the best of them, but you know he's definitely needs to try to find a way to finish his Cole because things are going downhill fast for Dissident. And when you're given over gold to the Ornn and experience being there, he's already level 12, so he's one level away, but there's the combo!
Going for the Petrifying Gaze. It's going to be able to connect that onto the Aphelios. Huge shutdown to come in as Fizz is going to find himself going on down too. Wiz now has the Soul Shackles, going to be not able to connect those onto Dragon. He's going to have a good flash over the wall, but he's going to find himself getting those not just clouds, and Strumpus sinks his fangs into the Troll and is able to grab that kill for himself. Beautifully played, and now the Baron is the play. This could be melted down very quickly.
Yeah, but Ziggs does so much damage in the Baron pit.
Is getting dropped down so very low. Has to go golden to keep himself alive. The exhaust comes through. It's going to be top diff going on a killing spree. But Dog able to just get the kill, get the shutdown. And you got to think this could be the Baron, and it will be TFT. Finding a great fight and rounding it off with a fantastic objective for themselves.
And that was the fantastic fight that they needed. They got the combination of the Miasma and the Rek'Sai able to lock, specifically Spawn on up on that Miasma, able to do the damage needed to take him out quick and early, dodging on out on the Mega Inferno Bomb, getting what they needed to do. Also picked up another kill onto Fizzy, I believe, and get the free Baron out of the deal, and things are looking fantastic for him. And we got a replay of the fight, starting off with this Petrifying Gaze on the Miasma, the Rek'Sai knockup. Spawn didn't stand a chance. Fizzy goes down, dodging out of the Mega Inferno Bomb. Dog did not even take a single point of damage from that. Dragon Kim tried to get out, but Strumpus sinking in with the Twin Fangs, making it happen. And with Vayne and Cassio, Baron is just a formality, and things have turned around a bit for Team Fish Taco here.
Yeah, the gold lead is now the same. We're seeing a bit of grouping going around this Drake right now. They don't want to allow Polar Ace to get themselves onto soul points, and it does look like TFT is they have the advantage in terms of how they want to go about it. Does get a good route onto heroes. They're trying to go for more Dissident, getting a little bit aggro here.
Call Forge God going for Vayne.
They're looking for something. They're going to be trying to get the kill onto the Vayne. They lay him up and they sink him down. Just an absolute slam dunk of a play, and Dog going down, a pivotal member indeed. Petrifying Gaze, though, is going to be beautifully done. The Glacial Fissure going on in. Sharp is going to be able to find a kill onto Fizzy. Over onto the backside, it's going to be the Trundle trying to kite this one on back, trying to lay out the damage onto the set. But what is all happening? The Ziggs is just free hitting, and here comes Spawn to clean it up. And Polar Ace just immediately turn it around and say, we will claim this Drake as easy as can be and grab the ace for themselves.
Yeah, Strumpus was feeling the flow a little bit there. Had a good spot to try and land a great Petrifying Gaze. Got a couple people, but did not get the Braum, and the Glacial Fissure was able to turn that around. And with Dog getting absolutely demolished by the Call of the Forge God and the Mega Inferno Bomb, which I believe we have a replay of right now, just as the Call of the Forge God comes in. Just look at the Mega Inferno Bomb. Did like 800 damage to Dog. And man, and then you look at Strumpus down here, sitting, lying in wait. Binding does land, but Braum did not get stunned, so was able to try and counter engage. And Spawn wasn't even there. Spawn just comes in when everyone's already low. Dragon Kim and Flare is able to do so much damage, allowing for the quick cleanup, as well as heroes just doing Ziggs things, man, throwing bombs on out, making things quick and easy for them. And back live, all of a sudden, things are back in Polar Ace's favor.
Yeah, all it took was one catch, right? They spotted the Vayne and they said, kill Vayne. It's a standard strategy, I would definitely say. As they definitely alley-ooped and slam dunked them back onto the ground. Looked like a just looked absolutely cinematic the way they were able to get the kill onto the Vayne. Now Polar Ace, they are at soul points, and when the next Drake spawns up in the next 3.5 minutes, could look for that possibility. And did get a good amount of damage actually on the mid inhibitor tower at the end result of all of that.
Yeah, and having the Cloud Drakes means more Ultimate CDR, more Call the Forge Gods, more Mega Inferno Bombs, more Moonlight Vigils, more Subjugates, more Glacial Fissures. And all those ultimates just add up to a very strong team fight presence. And we saw they're able to make picks with them too. Glacial Fissure on its own can turn and engage, as we saw. So things are just getting harder and harder for Team Fish Taco, and short of Dog just really popping off and going crazy with the vein spotting and actually getting a ton of points in a fight that just gets chaotic, it's going to be really hard for Team Fish Taco to find their angle again. They found it once, so we can't count them out, but it's just going to be really hard for them to find that angle again.
They got to be careful, because you were talking about the ultimate CDR. That's actually pretty big for Vayne. Position's a major part of her character. Who knew? But these Mega Inferno bombs, it's going to start turning into the clips. Like, you know when you go to the gym and there's the guy who's using the basketball court and he's just throwing constant shots, and none of them are, they're like bouncing off the rim, they're hitting the backboard, they're constantly bouncing away, but he gets to go for that all the time. But here we go to Miasma Spawn's going to be able to get out of harm's way. It's going to go down, though. I said it's going to be able to pick up the kill onto him, trying to jump on forward. They're going to be able to get the chains onto him, and Vayne, they find a fight for him. You were just talking about it's going to be difficult, but they find a way to pick out all the targets.
They found a way. We got Baron spawning here soon. They have 5 members strong in the mid lane. The Mega Inferno Bomb really only hit Wisp. Dog's full health. Stropus is pretty close to full health too. So as soon as this Baron comes up, they could just try to turn on it, but they're going to try and get some towers taken down first. With Rek'Sai about half health, can't really tank up the Baron all that well. So we'll see if they just decide to reset. It looks like they will. But man, just when I say it's going to be hard for them to find the angle, they pull it off. A quick replay coming on in here. Just, man, Spawn just gets absolutely demolished. The Rek'Sai ult comes out. The Moonlight Vigil only hitting Aesthetic. Did do a little bit of damage, and Hero got caught out by Dog. And just 1, 2, 3, it's that simple, picking people off.
Yeah, and while we were looking at that replay, Strumpus did use the Petrifying Gaze to try and get a catch in the mid lane onto the Trundle Ornn, but they did look away. Not going to be allured by the Snake Lady, as Dissident is now pushing away. His Cole has been completed. Power Spike.
Yeah, but Polar Ace trying to rush the Baron. They're on the Baron with Aphelios. Doesn't have the Crescendum though, so not a whole lot of chakrams. There is damage with the Infernum, but it's not the
It's getting caught out though. Has to go golden. Is not going to find himself getting knocked out. They're going to be able to lay a lot of damage here.
Graviton
God, not going to be able to get anything further off of that. Now Wisp is going to get tagged by the Winter Spite. Has to back up. Side of TFT on full retreat here, as they do not have the Rek'Sai as Strumpus, Wisp, and Dog here. They're looking for a little bit of damage onto top deck, trying to get a couple bit, but not going to be able to proc the Silver Bolts onto him. As Spawn is still alive and well, they have to play this fight out very carefully. But while this is all happening, Set is just pushing away in the bot tower. We're going to hit a Petrifying Gaze. It's going to hit onto the Braum and onto the Trundle. Going to be able to get him, as it's going to be the Vayne going into the bad side. The exhaust on Spawn. Dog is tumbling through this fight and cleaning it up. Dog looking like an absolute janitor and cleaning up whatever remains. And here you go. We're serving fresh zigs today. He will lay out the bomb and get the kill onto Dog. But the damage definitely looks like it has been done here, as it looks like TFT is going to look to push this in for a possible inhibitor.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Dog is 6-2 on the Vayne. Strumpus has 5 kills for himself as well, has the Void Staff completed. You know, they can turn back for the Baron. Cassio can do it relatively quickly. You know, with Vayne, it'd be free and easy. With Cassio, it should be just fine. There's 3 spawn timers, which is still pretty long. Should be a free Baron, but now Soul Point is up and Polar Ace is ping on it. They're going for it.
Yeah, they're going straight to it. They'd have no reason not to, right? There's going to be a reset that's possibly going to happen after this Baron, but you can see TFT, they said, no, we can't do a full reset here, but it looks like they might just do it instead of routing their way to it. They're using a TP even to get over there, and this is going to be Soul that will be granted over to Polar Ace, as it doesn't look like I said it's going to be there in time.
Yep, and Air Soul gives you that movement speed, gives you the extra movement speed when cast your ultimate. So, you know, lots of good things to come out of it, especially just the base movement speed increase and getting the extra 10% CDR from that last Air Drake as well adds on up as well for a total of 30% bonus. Those 3 Air Drakes. So, you know, the tools are in Polar Ace's favor. They just keep getting into interesting positions where the Vayne is able to catch people out, where Strumpus is able to land these Petrifying Gazes from Fog of War. So I think they need to prioritize their vision a little bit more. But there is the Molten Edge completed for Spawn on this Aphelios. previously upgrading the Rabadons to the Death Crown for Hero. So these Ornn items are starting to come into play, and they do provide quite a bit of gold value each. I believe they're about 1,600 gold value each. So the gold lead is, 5-ish, 4.5K right now. So you add in some Ornn items, and that goes down a little bit. But overall, things are in Team Fish Taco's favor at the moment.
I feel like it's become a game of who catches out the opposing AD carry first here. Dog going with an amazing flank in that last fight. And previously, when we saw Dog go down at the start of the fight, it was like Polar Ace completely in control. So I'd say Net's catch onto the AD carry is going to be the big pivotal one that we're going to have to keep our eyes on, because Spawn and Dog's positioning is becoming the most important thing in these fights.
Yeah, and fighting in corridors is something that Team Fish Taco does not want to do, so they want to try and get out into a lane with their fight to try and make sure that they don't have to run through the crazy AoE, because look, we got Infernum on Spawn right now, so that Moonlight Vigil would do a ton of damage. Does have a Bloodthirster now, does Spawn, so should be able to sustain himself as long as he's able to auto.
Oh, Shompus takes a decent chunk of damage, but that's the Mega Inferno Bomb. That's going to be the Trundle getting absolutely bursted, but they traded jungler for jungler here so far. Now the chase is on. Looks like they're possibly looking to go for more Dissident. Is going to find himself caught out into a tricky situation. Is going to have a lot of damage being put back onto him. Satchel charge, and Spawn finds a kill. And all of a sudden, TFT is down 2 members.
Yeah, and with that Baron unable to secure a tower, that is just a short little buff that you get. The Ocean Soul, or not the Ocean Soul, but the Dragon Soul is for the rest of the game. So them being unable to accomplish breaking open the base with the Baron buff, definitely a little bit concerning for Team Fish Taco. But in the end, this game is still on a knife's edge. Like, one fight is going to end up deciding this game with the way things are going.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I was saying with the AD carries. We saw in that last fight, too. They're just shredding HP bars, both junglers. Just getting their HP bars devastated by this Vayne and Ophelia.
Look at that shield with the Bloodthirster and the
disgusting.
Overkill. That's like a 700 health shield right there.
Spawn's like, catch me out, I dare you. I got a shield. He's going to help me, keep me alive for a little bit longer, possibly.
Well, if Vayne catches him out, Vayne's got exhaust, so it should be pretty simple.
That's what happened in the last fight, though, is everybody paid all the attention in the world to Strumpus, did not see the Vayne flanking. You never expect the flanking Vayne, but it was a reality that they had to deal with, and probably going to be keeping their eyes out for that as well if we go into a Nets fight where a similar situation happens.
Yeah, and
do you see
now Elder Drake is on the table here in just a bit, so that would be big for the side of Polar Ace to get that with all the AoE they have, adding all that extra burn onto it plus the execute. Obviously, Zigzalt would probably just execute people if they get hit in the middle. I think pretty much 4 out of the 5 members of Team Fish Taco might just straight up die to an Elder Drake Zigzalt if they get hit by the middle.
Yeah, it would absolutely make their HP bars explode. That is.
We do have Wits End on
sure.
Dog though, so trying to be able to get some MR to survive through the random incidents of AoE. And we'll see what that BF sword turns into, if it's either an Infinity Edge or a Guardian Angel, but there's a pillar.
Yeah, I'm looking for a possible catch. It's going to just lay out some damage onto Wisp. Getting a good minefield to keep their point of engage away. But Set did jump in. He is TP'd into the mid lane, looking for a possible flank. Dragon is going to be able to spot him out, but needs to be careful about how they position this. Orange not there in the area just yet.
Strumpus has Braum passive.
They are going to look for something. Top Def is coming in.
That was half his health.
Flank here. Call the Forge guy coming on through. Going to be able to get that onto 2 members, and Dissident is going to go down solo, with the rest of his team having to back off. Beautiful call of the Forge God to connect onto Dog and Wisp in the backside.
Yeah, prevented any fallout from them. Aesthetic jumping through the tunnel into a bit of a sticky situation. You saw it, Mega Inferno Bomb took half of Strumpus' health.
Oh, Moonlight Vigil not going to be able to connect. They're looking for more here. Going to be going for the Void Rush. Aesthetic's going to go down. That bomb is going to tick away, and it's going to be a shutdown as Strumpus goes down.
Wait, you're standing on the miasma.
Miasma Listen, he sticks in the toxicity. He's cool with it. The poison, it didn't bother him anyway.
Yeah, but looking at the Elder and Baron, there's a 20-second difference between the respawns. So we'll see. They're going to go for the Elder, but Vayne and Morgana will be able to do the Baron super quick. At this point, Vayne has a ton of attack speed. But Mega Inferno Bomb's already back up.
They are looking for it. Mega Inferno Bomb. Wisp not going to get hit, and that's enough to peel them off of the Baron. And what was their Hail Mary not going to be as effective as they wish. And this could now turn into Elder and Baron for Polar Ace.
Yeah, there's Elder. Mega Inferno Bomb is under 30 seconds on its cooldown right now. 29.4 seconds. So it'll be back up soon if TFT decides to even attempt to contest this Baron. But here comes Spawn, and with Spawn's DPS, they should be able to get it, have both Mega Buffs in the game going at once. But even with both those Mega Buffs, there is still potential for Polar Ace to lose a fight. We've seen it happen.
Yep. We have casted many games where we've seen bigger leads thrown, but right now Polar Ace climbed themselves on back. I believe they were at about a 7K differential before all these fights started happening, and now all of a sudden they've climbed their way to being almost even with the side.
And that is an Infinity Edge for dogs, so this Vayne is huge. Full build.
Full build.
Aphelios is full build too, however, so we'll see how this ends up playing out. Mid laner's not quite full build, one item away on each of them, but push onto a Baron and Elder, it seems a little bit on the unassailable side, but we'll see if Strumpus is able to find another amazing Petrifying Gaze.
And you can see they're actually just backing up. They understand that this is not their fight to pick, but with them knocking on the Nets' turrets, they have to be ready for a Rek'Sai's looking for a flank set, trying to back here. The Call to Forge guy is going to be coming on out.
They got to do something
quick.
quick.
Able to get it connect onto the Morgana, but not going to be able to get anything too terribly else out of it. The set having to back up is taking a lot of free hits. The Moonlight Vigil coming on in. It's going to drop Dissident very low. He's going to find himself getting popped by the Elder Lizard. It's going to be Wiz that's going to go on down net. Miasma coming through. Trumpet's not going to be able to connect with it as a beautiful turnaround comes from Spawn. Spawn will grab that. Dog's in the backside trying to see what he'll be able to pick up onto the back, but it's just going to be Rek'Sai getting one kill for himself, a triple kill for Spawn, and Polar Ace, they end the night 2-0.
Yeah, and it's not for lack of trying from Team Fish Taco. Dog and Strumpist had gutsy performances in this one. 6 kills apiece, able to make things interesting at the very least, but in the end, man, top diff Flares had a bigger impact in the game than Dissident did. Even after Dissident got the early game, the first blood, he got the kills, bought the coal, but just got stalled out once the lane swapped happened. And Flares was able to get some kills, get some gold, get some items, get some experience, and get to the point where he was able to upgrade the items. And once the Elder and Baron came in at the end, it became super hard for the side of Team Fish Taco to even attempt to approach. You saw them coming in with the Nexus Towers. At first, Nexus Tower went down like that.
Yeah, it was just butter at that point in time. And really and truly, I mean, it does say a testament to what Polar Ace was able to do. They say cool, calm, collected. I personally feel like this game was the battle of the AD carries, this one for sure. Dog and Spawn putting on very big performances and really being the stars inside their teams. Any fight that was won felt like it was won by their hand. And you got to give it out to both AD carries from both sides here for sure. But at the end of the day, you look over at Polar Ace, they were able to control a lot of fights a lot better. And I feel like they've recognized the win condition from the side of TFT and just neutralized it in a lot of the later game team fights.
Yeah, it came down to the fight setup. If the fight was front to back standard, Polar Ace had a real easy time of fighting it. If TFT was able to get their correct angles, they were able to wipe the fights with the Miasma Rek'Sai combo with Vayne coming off on the side, picking people off. And that's what it ended up coming down to, was just there was that fight that Polar Ace was able to get the picks they needed. And from that point on, there was really not a whole lot TFT could do.
Yeah, it became a bit of an unfortunate situation for them. They weren't able to find the fights that they wanted to pursue. But it just comes down to what you're saying about a better handle about how to control the fights came out from Polar Ace. and that's why they're able to stand out 2-0. But Polaris putting out a good performance. So TFT definitely can look away from this game and say, you know what? It was a 2-0, but we had good performances, and hopefully they look to just grow off of that and get some things going for them, because Dog and Strumpus put up good performances, but it just wasn't enough for their team here today.
Yeah, I just feel bad for Dissident after this game. Got off to about the best start you could have ever had for a set. You bought a coal, you're like, I'm going to snowball. And then Dog's like, hey, man, I need to swap top. This Aphelios is hurting. I need some CS. And you're like, okay, I think I can deal with that. And then things just went downhill.
Poor
Feels
Dissonant.
bad.
Yeah, he was feeling himself, got the coal, and then didn't get to make too much use of it. It's definitely unfortunate with that one. And, you know, it does show for an exciting season so far, man. Right now, UPL is looking hot with some of the action going on here. Polaris TFT taking each other on for a very fun series. But, Gus, I do believe that is about it for us here tonight. Shout outs to everybody who came out to the stream and checked out all of the crazy UPL action. It was a blast to be able to catch out all the action and see what was going on. With that being said, before we sign off, we want to remind you to be sure to check out on Thursday. We have UCL that is going to be going on. I believe it is going to be their first week. So make sure you check that out, because the first week is always the spiciest week. That is the week where all the sorts of crazy stuff happens. So make sure you guys check that out, as it's going to be, I believe, Dark Allegiance versus Slaughterhouse Academy, I believe. So make sure you guys tune in 8 p.m. EST to be able to check that out. I believe Helmite and Goforino are going to be taking the helm from what I remember on that one. So be sure to check that out, as those guys put out a fantastic performance. But that being said, thank you all for coming out to the stream. Have yourselves all a fantastic night.